July, and I want to take you on a tour of all of my front yard flower beds. My entire front yard is full sunflower beds, so you can imagine in July in the South, woo-wee, we have a lot of things that are being tested to their fullest. However, I still have beauty, color, and a lot more growing season left to go, thankfully. Hi you guys, this is Nicole from My Carolina Garden. My garden is located in growing zone 8B and I am in southeastern North Carolina. Here in southeastern North Carolina, more specifically Wilmington, North Carolina, the home of TV shows like Dawson's Creek and One Tree Hill and lots of other things that have been filmed here, we are also a place where the Venus flytrap is native. So my daughter went downtown recently and there was just a person there handing out these little Venus flytraps, the carnivorous plants. So these are the ones, you know, from like the Little Shop of Horrors that want to eat the people. Well, it's pretty cool because these guys are endangered. So I told my daughter I would find the perfect spot to plant it, which will be tricky because they want like full sun, but they can't dry out. They don't want good soil. They want like quickly draining kind of cruddy soil. So we will see. I don't know where this is going to go yet, but I just wanted to show you that was kind of cool and something all about Wilmington. Let's jump into the full sunflower beds. We are going to start outside of my fence line, but still in my front yard in the spot that I like to call the Island of Misfit Toys. Now, I will include as much drone footage and B-roll footage as possible so that you really have the lay of the land and understand exactly where this garden is compared to other gardens that I have in my yard. I know for me, the sun is right here and I didn't bring my sunglasses out. It is important to me when I'm watching other people's garden tours to really understand where their gardens are and how things go in their yard. So again, outside the fence line right now, let's turn the camera around. We had done a pretty good job of getting new plants planted, getting some things a little more organized so it wasn't so chaotic out here. So I have things like the black-eyed Susans and the blanket flowers that are blooming. Cool, that's great. And then I have junipers at the edge there, which is taking up room, which is the entire idea. This area is very sloped. And I have an erosion issue out here because this slope ends up leading to our drainage ditch and the water trails right out to the intercoastal waterway from here. And that's a way that it keeps our land from flooding. Well, with the ditch and with a slope comes erosion, as I said. So I'm constantly battling, trying to keep my mulch in place, for example, or to have things that like to have somewhat wet feet because they're heading down the ditch or they're heading down the slope to the drainage ditch, etc. So it's been an interesting project out here in the Island of Misfit Toys. And for those of you who don't know also, the Island of Misfit Toys is a project that is made entirely up of garden share items, clearance items, and divisions of my own perennials in my yard. This crocosmia here is something I got from my sister's from her yard last year. Now I never had this before, so I'm not actually sure if I'm supposed to clip this off. Are these seeds? I don't really know anything about crocosmia except that the flower is really gorgeous and makes me feel a little bit like it has a tropical vibe to it. But it's cool because at least that piece is growing. So we're just going to keep backing away from the Island of Misfit Toys until we get to my huge magnolia tree, which does not provide a lot of shade, funnily enough. So here we go. This is now my Peninsula garden. So the way we distinguish the Peninsula garden is the magnolia tree is actually the anchor to this garden. So the Island of Misfit Toys is everything behind it outside of the fence. And then this Peninsula really juts out from the magnolia tree or the fence line there. Well, the magnolia was planted by us maybe 5 years ago now, and it was purposefully placed there to give us some privacy into the backyard and the angle at which the pool is, etc. However, it also doesn't really give us any protection from the sun at all because of the way the angle of the sun is in this yard. Nevertheless, my Peninsula garden is full sun. And as I said, I feel very lucky to at least have some color still going on in this garden right now. I shouldn't say still. It's July. I have a lot of growing season left to go. I'm pleasantly surprised at the amount of color that I have. So let's point out some of the colorful, gorgeous babies. The Gomphrena is one of my new favorite plants for this year. It still looks fabulous. Its little bally blooms are so freaking cute. And with a little luck, as this dries out and turns to seed, I will end up with some seeds landing in the ground that allows this to self-seed for me. So it will be kind of a little bit more than an annual, if you will. I do have some canna lilies in the front yard. While they are mainly in the back in my tropical garden, I, of course, have to share the love because I have a lot of canna lilies. Same thing with the blanket flowers. They're everywhere in the front yard, backyard, all over the place. And these gorgeous beauties. The Denver Daisy Rudbeckia. Ooh, I love the color on these. Now, it's kind of important to note that black-eyed Susans are kind of Rudbeckia also. But I have to say that they are not nearly as nice as these tremendous blooms. I really love it. You know what also I love? The moss on the side of this rock. Oh my gosh, that's my favorite. This rock actually came from upstate New York, from my in-laws' property. It's one of the biggest rocks we ever carted home because I have no rocks here in coastal North Carolina. And it's absolutely one of my favorite things in the garden. So I have some echinacea planted right here. I have my cordyline spike in a pot with red begonias here. The pink that is planted here is the vinca. I know a lot of people are really excited about having vinca in their yards this time of year because it does give you that fresh pop of color that so many of us are looking for. I had tried to take some cuttings of my irisine plant from a pot in the backyard, and supposedly it's extremely easy to propagate and root, but you can see, oh my goodness, it's looking so sad and so saggy. We have drip irrigation here and it rained yesterday. It still looks like that, so I don't know what will happen. Here's all of my fresh coneflowers that I bought on a recent sale during 4th of July, which was fabulous to find all of these different styles of echinacea and give me that color. And this is a tickled pickle coleus. It is a sun-loving coleus. So it's got multicolored leaves. It's got the stems that are a different color. So very cool, not in the ground. It is an annual. Of course, you know I will be propagating it from cuttings. So I'm thinking it just needs a pot out here. That is what my plan is for that. Ooh, I better just show you my Luna Rose perennial hibiscus, because seriously, I know I keep saying it, but I'm down to my last couple of blooms here. The tall grasses in the back are all zebra grasses, so I have 3 of those that are there. This spiky piece here is the golden sword yucca, so that's just a foundation plant, which is also evergreen, which I love having. It's obviously great to have staples that are there all the time. Here's some black-eyed Susans. So as I said, just a different style of Rudbeckia than the Denver Daisy Rudbeckia we saw just a moment ago. And looking from around the back side of the Peninsula garden, I have another tickled pickle coleus. I can't find those in all of the stores, like every nursery doesn't have them. But my one favorite one, which is Pender Pines, I've told you about before because I can find some really nifty things in there. That's where I picked it up. Not too expensive if I do say so myself. And of course, the Bluephoria diplodenia / Mandevilla. It is a hybrid plant, purple for the first time this year for 2025. Now this pot is looking fabulous. It's loving its life here, and I'm so thankful for that because this is one of my all-time favorite flowers. And of course, in this direction, I'm trying to keep the bird bath full because it is so blazing hot. I want the birds to get a place to land and grab a little sip. So we got that happening, and on the ground beside the bird bath on each side. That is a type of Artemisia. So I do have a different style Artemisia in my backyard that's called silver tuft, that looks like so fine and sweet and soft. This one is also very soft, but it is a different kind of foliage on it. This one's pretty cool too. And with the silver I have there, I also have some Dusty Miller over here. Now, Dusty Miller, from what I gather, is perennial here for me in zone 8. I had never had Dusty Miller before. I only had it in arrangements, never in the ground. So we'll kind of see what happens with that. Directly behind the Peninsula garden, closer to my house, I have this little sweetie pie. I'm just calling it my willow garden because I have the pussy willow weeping tree as the center focal point. All of this stuff had been planted around it at the start of the season back in March. So this Dusty Miller, same deal, planted in the ground for the first time. And then all the other little goodies. There were a lot of colorful goodies around it that were all annuals. So currently I'm having Millennium Garlic. I have a couple of Dragon's Breath Celosia dug out of my ground. It's not looking all that glorious just yet, but it's pretty newly planted next to another garlic here. And then this is my sweet pickup truck planter with some zinnias in it. And I love pickup trucks, particularly American made, older, like 1970s kind of trucks. Love those. So this is my front porch walkway, and unfortunately the sun is just everywhere, so I don't have great angles where we can keep the sun out of our viewpoint so we can see things a little bit better. This pot of Diplodenia and snake plants right here, been flanking this sidewalk for 4 years, I think now, over winters indoors. The lantana, gorgeous, gorgeous pollinator attractor, so many blooms on it. Ooh, maybe the sun's going away for a smidge. Let's go back out this way. This is a little lime punch hydrangea. So it starts out with the white blooms and they start turning into shades of pink. Now I am having a chlorosis problem on this hydrangea, so you can see some of the leaves are beginning to turn yellow and such, getting a little bit of spotting on them. So I had to add some soil acidifier to the soil here because we seem to have been having a problem perhaps being able to absorb some iron from the ground. So we got that rocking and rolling. And then in front of it I have some hot pink verbena, which is a trailing plant, meant to be an annual, but it is perennial here. Some purple heart, some geranium, some kaleidoscope abelia bushes. Now you guys, while the sun is hidden by a cloud, let me show you how awful my garden easel is right now. I have, I think, a rabbit. I'm not sure if it's a deer or a rabbit because I get both things. I'm being completely eaten away here. We have nubs all over our sweet potato vine. I mean, all over. That has happened. All the begonias were like nubs that were inside of there. Oh my gosh. So my garden easel needs a makeover, and I am thinking too, I don't know, maybe I have to move the easel. Maybe that's what it is. I might need to move it into the backyard and keep it out of the sun too, because it is just a very trying time for the plants that are on this easel with the blazing afternoon sun. Even though I did hook up drip irrigation, you can see it attached to the back leg of the easel there. We have irrigation in there, but man, these plants are constantly under one trial or another. Okay, back to the front porch right quick. I did want to show you a little update on my tomato plant that volunteered in the ground in the front here. So as I said, I was going to keep it as long as it was tucked away, and it is. And it's actually a really great producing plant. And this is a clearance pothos, typically an indoor plant. Got it for $5. I put one here on the front porch and it seems to be doing very well, growing quite a lot. And then I put one into my new shade garden in the back. That one so far not doing as well. And the heart to heart caladiums, this is called Hot Flash. that are in my 2 urn planters by the front door. Oh my gosh, these are amazing. They've been amazing. They've stayed amazing. I just can't say enough good things about the caladium or the coleus actually. Caladium and coleus have been 2 of my most favorite plants for this year. I'm a lover of perennials and I'm a lover of flowers, so these are not either of those things, but yet they're stunning. So just wanted to share my love. As we're standing back by the Peninsula garden again, I just want to walk by and mention a couple things. First of all, this is a fabulous time to be able to assess your garden and see where there are holes. Not just in blooms like colors and stuff, but also where could you potentially add a statue or some sort of garden decor. And the reason I'm thinking of that is because of the strange time of year that it is. July, hot, full-on summer, but yet you go to the store and summer items are on clearance. Back to school items are in stock. Halloween is starting to be stocked. That is depressing to me. I just wanted to say that. However, I want you to know that I'm still on the hunt anyway for any new garden decor pieces that I can add in here beyond just plants, so I can fill in the holes, fill in the gaps, and kind of make my garden even more spectacular if possible. So how are you guys doing in your gardens? Are you feeling exhausted? Are you feeling like it's impossible to get outside to do the work because the heat and humidity are unbearable? Or are you feeling like, heck yeah, it's summer, we wait all year for this time, and I'm gonna do as much as I can, especially if you're in an area where your growing zone is shorter? No, where your growing season is shorter in your zone. How are you feeling? I truly want to know that. Some days I feel overwhelmed by the heat and humidity, and then other days I'm like, no, I am grabbing the bull by the horns and I am holding on so tight because summer is amazing and I love this time of year. Anyway, thanks for joining me on the July garden tour of my front yard, full sun flower beds. Hope you saw something pretty that you liked. I will tell you also, as I'm watching other people's garden tours and maybe I see some that are a little more woodsy, maybe have some more rocks and things that I absolutely adore in them, or they have more shade than I have, man, it gets my juices flowing. It has my imagination running wild. I kind of long for a little bit more shade or a little bit more natural elements like the stone and stuff like that in my garden. I just simply don't have it. But hopefully what I do have can be motivational or inspirational to you. And maybe I have something that you would really like to include in your garden. And that's what this is all about, the community of sharing our ideas. Anyway, thanks again. Subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on social media. And until next time, you guys, happy planting.